this is the time when we have a story for all ages or a message for all ages. And I have a story that was told and written by Brene Brown. Some of us know Brene Brown. She does a talk show. She writes books. She has fabulous or fantastic insights about vulnerability and building relationships, building stronger leadership skills. In one of her books called Dare to Lead, she has a story that I called, she didn't name the story, I named it, Trust in the Marble Jar. So what had happened is one day her daughter, Ellen, had come from school that was the time when Ellen was in 3rd grade. And the minute Ellen closed the front door, she started sobbing. She slid down on the floor and kind of was holding herself, crying on the floor. It scared Brene Brown. What happened, right? So that's what she asked. What's wrong, Ellen? What happened? What happened? When Ellen finally pulled herself up together enough to speak, she said, something really hard happened to me today at school. I shared it with a couple of my friends during recess. And by the time we got back into the classroom, everyone in my class knew what had happened. They were laughing, pointing at me, calling me names. It was so bad and the kids were being so disruptive that the teacher even had to take marbles out of the marble jar. Well, the marble jar in the classroom is a jar when the kids are making great choices, the teacher would add a marble in that jar. But if they were not making great choices, the teacher would take out the marble from that jar. And if the jar gets filled up, they have a celebration for the whole class. So Ellen said it was one of the worst moments in my life. They were laughing and pointing, and Miss Bakum, I don't know how to say it right, but the teacher kept saying, I'm going to take marbles out. And she didn't even know what was happening. So Ellen looked at her mom with the face that was sad and worrisome and said, I will never trust anyone again. Brene Brown's first reaction was, damn right, you just tell me and nobody else. But that's not what she said. She was thinking about how to explain this to a 3rd grader. And she said, well, Ellen, trust is like a marble jar. Ellen was a little confused, like, what do you mean? Trust is like a marble jar. So Brene Brown told her this. You share those hard stories and those hard things that are happening to you with friends who over time fill up this marble jar. They've done things one after another where you're like, I know I can share this thing with this person. Does that make sense? Yes, it did make sense to Ellen. And then Brene Brown asked her, do you have marble jar friends? And yes, she said, I do. Totally. Hannah and Lorna are my marble jar friends. And then Brene Brown, her mom, asked, tell me what you mean. How do they earn marbles for you? So I'll give you her story, one example, what Ellen said. Lorna, if there is not a seat for me in a lunch cafeteria, she'll scoot over and give me a half, a little bitty part of her seat. Huh, she will. Yeah, she does. And then she'll just sit like that so I can sit next to her, and they both eat lunch together, sharing a seat. That's kind of a big deal. That's not what Brene Brown was expecting to hear, but that's what her daughter saw. What other ways people fill the jars? And now I'm going to ask you, what other ways people fill jars when you're not a third grader? Listening. So we could add a jar, a marble in here for listening. What else? Supporting somebody.
Being quiet, not interrupting while you're listening.
Not interrupting when you're listening, right? Yes, giving ideas, but also being open to new ideas. Showing up. What else?
Doing what they say you're going to do.
Yes, doing what they say you're going to do. Doing what I say I'm going to do too, right? Yes.
Listening without judging.
Listening without judging. Yes. Not judging by the way people look, but not judging by the book by the cover kind of analogy. Well, that's going to be a big one, not a marble. We're going to get a marble.
Understanding.
Understanding, yes. Not just listening, but also understanding what's being said, right? Keeping the confidentiality, right? If that's something that we don't want to share with everyone, we don't.
Empathy.
Empathy, yes. Feeling with someone.
Nurturing.
Nurturing
a friendship.
Nurturing a friendship. Not caring what others say about someone. Yes, if somebody is talking bad about somebody else, not giving that any steam to go anywhere further. Stopping a rumor, yes, if it's not true. Well, even if it's just a rumor, we're stopping, right?
Helping someone that needs help.
Helping someone that needs help, yes. What else? Leadership. Courage in some ways too, right?
Looking out for you.
Looking out for you, yes. Somebody actually cares about you, right? Keeping the love that you have received and treasuring it, yes. All right. Do you want to hear one more example that Ellen had? Her other friend, Hannah, had attended a soccer game. And so this is where I guess Brene Brown was expecting that the daughter will say, and Hannah supported me when I hit the goal or something, but that's not what happened. What Hannah had done, she had looked over and saw Ellen's Oma and Opa, her grandparents, and said, "Look, your Oma and Opa are here." Well, it was a little interesting for Brene Brown, but then she actually realized that her daughter Ellen has 8 grandparents. And for somebody like her friends to recognize her grandparents can be a big deal too, and to rejoice when they come and show up. So,
Can I add one more? Making yourself vulnerable to ask for help.
making yourself vulnerable to ask for help. Yes. Trusting the person. Yes. I'm going to add one for that. So, what happens when trust is broken?
The whole jar is empty. All at once.
It depends on how bad, right? But one event can do just this. All this 10 minutes that we spent, well, I don't know how many we spent, adding goes away. And we have to start all over, piece by piece by piece, to add until this jar